Greetings, everybody, and welcome to week 2. In this week's video, we're going to be talking a little bit about some things from chapter 3 in terms of who is involved in curriculum development. And then I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the human dimension of this because I think it's one of those that's often ignored. It is talked about a little bit in chapter 4, but having lived this as both a principal and as a curriculum developer myself, I want to really emphasize some pieces from that chapter 4. So first of all, who is involved in curriculum development? I think the temptation is to think that it's, focused on just a curriculum developer and maybe a small group of people who are assisting him or her, but that would be a big mistake. It really needs to be a multi-level process. And that's a process that needs to take some time. If you try to rush it or take shortcuts or don't involve all the different levels of people I'm talking about, you run the risk of not having a complete understanding about the things that need to be involved in the curriculum, but you also run the risk of not having complete buy-in from the people that are most important and end up delivering on the curriculum. So a couple of pieces. Some of these are obvious, some of them aren't so obvious. So the principal obviously needs to be involved in curriculum development. The principal is in unique position to be understanding, what some of the needs are of the district, what some of the needs are that maybe the curriculum developer or other levels of this process wouldn't understand. And so the principal, he or she needs to be very much involved in kind of overseeing this and having touch points with the different people who are involved with it. It's important for the principal to understand the process of it and to understand how to try to make connections with the different people who can be involved with it. So first and foremost, the principal definitely needs to be involved in curriculum development every step of the way. Of course, there's going to be a curriculum leader and typically, a group of people on his or her team that are going to be the ones who end up, doing the writing and doing the kind of getting it down in terms of what the format looks like. And the curriculum leader and leaders will be involved in all the different, meeting with all the different people who are involved in the process as well. So they're going to be meeting with the principal, they're going to be meeting with teachers, they're going to be meeting with collecting different types of data on students to try to get a real clear understanding about, again, the goal is to try to understand what do our students need to be able to do, what type of skills do they need to develop at each grade level for each subject, what do they need to be able to know at each grade level in each subject, and are there any habits of mind that they need to develop. So the curriculum leader is going to be the one who's kind of really gathering all that information and bringing it all together. Teachers need to be involved, right? Obviously, because there's no way that the curriculum leader can understand the nuances and the details of every particular subject. And so we've got to have teacher leaders who are involved in leading that effort and helping to, connect the needs of the school and the district with what those standards are in a particular area. And then working with the curriculum leader to make sure that those standards are part of whatever the curriculum ends up looking like. And the teachers are probably going to be involved in helping to write some of that in many cases. And then finally, we're not going to have students write the curriculum, but students are involved in so much as we need to be mindful of, where our gaps might be. We need to be mindful of what our students are most need at particular grade levels, which often will align with what national and regional and state standards say, but we may have some unique thing about our students in our school, and then we'll want to make sure that we make some adjustments to our curriculum as we're writing it to take into account what that is. Remember, the curriculum is the what of instruction of the what we want students to learn, and then instruction is the how. So curriculum is the what, instruction is the how. So really all of these different people and groups need to be involved in the process, and chapter 3 does a I think, a nice job of kind of outlining a lot of those pieces. So I want to spend more of my time here really talking about the human dimension. And so anytime you're developing curriculum, you're likely going to be making some type of changes, sometimes relatively small, sometimes more significant. And let's face it, change of any type is hard. And I'm reminded of this little cartoon, right? I want you to find a bold and innovative way to do everything exactly the same way it's been done for 25 years. Change is hard because with every change there is loss, even really good change. And so I think it's really important in the curriculum development process, whether you're the curriculum leader or the principal, to be really aware that change is an inevitable part, and to understand what type of resistance to change might be there, so you can have plans for how to try to address it. So why do we get resistance to change? Well, as I said, one is just fear. It's fear of the unknown, right? So even if our present circumstance is not great and we know that change needs to be made, there's going to be fear about what's next. The unknown is always scarier than something even that's not great that is known. So there's always going to be fear and loss associated with it. Often we're going to run into faculty or members in our community who are skeptical about any curricular change because many of them may have seen other changes that were attempted that never really lived up to their billing. And so they may have fully invested in a previous change effort and it never really came out the way that people said it would or they thought it would. And so over time, they may have developed a really healthy skepticism. And so we're going to have to really demonstrate to them why any potential changes to the curriculum can enhance the learning of students, and we're going to really have to support them in making those changes because they're likely to be skeptical. A lot of times change interferes with need fulfillment. I mean, because teachers get a certain sense of accomplishment from doing a job well done, and whenever you're making change in any area, by definition, early on, people aren't going to be very good at it, and there's going to be a period of a transition and a learning curve, and that may interfere with people's need to really have a sense of being very competent at something. And so, people don't like to go through that early period where it's hard and it's uncomfortable. We like to stay in our comfort zones. For teachers who have a significant amount of influence because they're really good at what they do, a change may be a threat to that. And maybe a threat to the influence that they once had. They may fear that I'm not going to be as good at this, whatever this change we're making in the curriculum is, than I've been before, and that's people aren't going to like that. Connected to this too is a threat that this curricular change may bring about something where their knowledge and skills are obsolete, that they aren't needed anymore. So the old way of doing things that they were really good at, maybe this new curriculum, they don't think their skills are even going to be needed anymore. So 3 and 4 and 5 are really, really powerful and get at the heart of why people may have a lot of resistance, because it's a threat to something very, very personal to them. And these types of things need to be taken into account when making a change, or it's going to be hard to get people to move along. The structure in a particular school may make it hard to make a curricular shift. And so you may have to adjust the schedule of the day. You may need to get teachers meeting with one another more frequently. You may need to have longer blocks of time to get certain things done. And so the organizational structure a lot of times needs to be taken a look at to see if the curricular change is even going to be possible. And then finally, of course, lack of resources. A curricular change may require different resources or more resources, and if those aren't available, we're not going to have any chance to make the change that we'd like to make. So curricular changes are necessary. They're needed. The world's changing. What is required of our students to be able to, what they need to know and understand and be able to do to go out and be successful in the world today is different than 15 or 20 years ago. And with that change comes resistance in a number of different forms. And so as the principal or a curriculum leader, it's just so important to be aware of what those areas of resistance are likely to be and come up with plans in advance for how to address them. If you have any questions at all as you're going through chapters 3 and 4 of the Oliva book, don't hesitate to reach out to your instructor. Thanks so much. Hope you guys have a great day.